Hey, I'm Chris Black from Black Labs, and I'm here to tell you about Hazityferm. Have you ever used a low-flock yeast in an attempt to get that cloudy beer your customers love to photograph, only to discover it's crystal clear when your beer is finished?
I can't post this on Instagram. It's not cloudy. It's actually clear.
Introducing Hazityferm, a new enzyme from Black Labs that guarantees hazy beer every time. Normally the brewing process breaks apart those hazy particles, which fall to the bottom of the fermenter to be disposed of. Hazityferm acts as a molecular glue, which keeps all these particles in suspension, so your finished beer is cloudy, hazy, and ready for social media.
Awesome. If I don't take pictures of my beer, it's like I didn't drink it at all.
Buy Hazityferm today.
Right, so Hazityferm isn't real. And neither is Black Labs. And this isn't Chris Black, it's John from Thunderhawk.
Bet you didn't recognize me with these glasses on.
Chris Black, when did you get here? Where did John go? Oh, hey John, how's it going? All right, seriously, where did John go? If you've been in any place that serves craft beer recently, odds are you've heard people talking about hazy beer or New England style beer. This is Ebullition's Tropical Hazy, and it's their fastest selling beer right now. The so-called New England style has been the hottest trend in American craft beer for over a year, and it shows no signs of letting up. But if there's no magic ingredient called Hazityferm, then what makes hazy beer hazy? Just as a quick refresher, let's revisit our episode with Morgan from Modern Times Beer, where she explains.
What gives it the cloudy appearance? Is it just hop particulate?
Just the combination of having protein and super heavy hop loads, and you form these protein polyphenol complexes that create a stable haze.
But if it's done correctly, it's not yeast?
It's not yeast. If you do it more from a flavor and mouthfeel standpoint and less from an aesthetic, then it just naturally is hazy. But if you're just trying to make it hazy for the sake of being hazy, then you're a dick.
In order to find someone who's not a dick, we had to travel 2,000 miles away from San Diego to Nashville, Tennessee. With World Beer Cup and the Craft Beer Conference both visiting Nashville in 2018, many people have recently become more aware of the great beer coming out of the city. One of the more noteworthy breweries in the area is called Bearded Iris Brewing, and they just so happen to be well known for their amazing New England style beers. And as luck would have it, the taproom manager happens to be a friend of What's on Draft, Wes Doris, who used to work at a brewery in San Diego called Society Brewing Company. You may remember Society as #1 from our Top 10 Breweries in San Diego episode from Season 2. One thing Society doesn't do, however, is hazy IPAs, so starting to enjoy cloudy beer was a bit of a learning curve for Wes.
For me, it dealt with tradition. When you kind of get raised in a school of thought, you kind of adhere to that.
Sure.
It's very hard to kind of open up to newer things. And I was afraid Doug and Travis might beat me up, so.
Yeah.
But then eventually, I got the courage to tell them. I think they're all right with it. What would you like to have?
Home style is what you're known for, right?
Home style, yep. That's an oated IPA, all mosaic, 6% ABV. All of our beer is unfiltered, unfined, and we don't have a centrifuge, of course. Each one of our beers is named after an iris. The state flower of Tennessee is the iris. 5 of the top 10 beers on Beer Advocate came out of this brewery last year.
For Tennessee?
For Tennessee, yep.
Looks like they're brewing today.
Yeah, I think we're brewing Scatterbrain today.
The brewers were in the middle of a double batch, but I managed to steal the co-founder and head brewer Matt for a quick interview.
Making hazy beer is definitely something that we've become known for, and it's definitely something that we want to embody and not forget who we are, you know? IPA has kind of experienced so many trends within the style itself that the idea of not making a classic IPA was nothing new by any means. It just wasn't called New England IPA at the time, you know? A Hefeweizen looks a certain way because the yeast performs a certain way, or it's made with certain ingredients. Sure. Or Saison is soft and drinkable because of XYZ. So the idea of putting a few of those factors together into a hop forward beer is that if you get a result that looks like that, it's not that surprising. And that's what I was doing when I was brewing at home, was just merging a few styles together that I enjoyed, which I assume a lot of other folks were doing too.
Matt admits they feel lucky that the hype surrounding hazy beer is good for Bearded Iris, but it seems clear they aren't doing this to chase fads.
I feel like the success that is what it is to make hazy IPA is fortunate for us. I wouldn't argue with the popularity of something that you enjoy making, and I mean we are a business, so I'm not going to argue with why that's beneficial to us. But I also feel like the idea of making a soft, small, hoppy beer was always like something that a lot of breweries wanted to do. So it really fits with who we are regardless of when it's happening, you know?
Matt and the other brewers had to get back to work, so Wes continued showing me around.
These are our footers. We acquired those in the beginning from a winery in Central California. About 1,000 gallons each, 55-year-old Hungarian oak. We had a few friends in a brewery in Colorado that we bumped into that bought the same exact ones. And they said if we had questions about any of them, then we could talk to them. So.
Was it the New Belgium guys?
Yeah.
We just went out and saw that.
We did just go out and see that, but that episode hasn't come out yet. On August 6th, join us as we explore New Belgium, Colorado beer, and the Great American Beer Festival in a special 2-part episode. The Brewers Association gave us media passes. Us. Why would they do that? Anyway, August 6th, check it out. Now back to our Nashville episode. After having a beer, Wes seemed to trust me enough to share some proprietary secrets about their barrel program.
These are our French noodles. This actually helps with attenuation and developing more characters. Sometimes when we pull nails, we use those as straws too. Don't quote me on that. Yeah, these are all the wine barrels. These are all filled. And then back there in the corner would be all the spirit barrel aged stuff that we have. They're all 20-year Pappy Van Winkle barrels.
Oh, wow.
So talking to the brewers, they intend to age these for at least 1.5 years.
Yeah.
And see where they're at. Half of those barrels are filled with a Russian Imperial Stout. The remainder of the lot are filled with an English style barley wine.
Pappy Van Winkle barrels are like,
They're hard to get.
yeah, they're very sought after. Well, you guys are a lot closer to Kentucky than we are in San Diego, so is it like a little easier to get some of these nicer distillery barrels?
Yeah, so like Kentucky's about an hour north of here.
Do you have a bottle of Pappy that I could have too?
I wish. And if we had it, we probably already drank it. So.
Right, fair enough.
Oak beers, wild beer, they're definitely something that's interesting to us and something that like we always enjoy drinking and want to purvey. We're doing a lot of experiments with oak right now, and our hope is that like we can make oak beers to the style and to the quality of which we make hazy dank. But for now, our focus is on making the highest quality IPAs and hoppy beers that we can. The main idea is just to make delicious beer that everyone wants to drink.
Well, I definitely want to drink it, but I'm not the only one.
So these are all the beers we've made since last October. Every Friday there's a release. We have a lot of regulars that come out and buy cans. People travel, people from Cincinnati, from Pennsylvania. I've had people from Florida. Specifically drove here for the intent of just getting the beer that we make.
As my interview with Wes drew to a close, he gifted me with my favorite thing of all time, beer to go. But before I left to explore more of Nashville, Wes and Matt reflected on Bearded Iris's rapid growth.
Did you bring any of the beer back to Abolition? You said you were going to.
Oh, golly, yeah.
Nashville's been like blossoming for, over a decade now. Germantown, where we're at, is exemplary of a very expedited growth phase. So when we first, started rebuilding the roof and like building out the brewery, it was comical to look outside and imagine like, I hope people come see us. And now there's apartment complexes everywhere and like amazing restaurants and a whole slew of culture that didn't exist here previously. And it's a lot of fun to be a participant in something like that.
Moving here, I heard people saying the market was saturated, and for me, I was just like, I saw it as just like wide open, like the Wild West. I think as it stands now, there's 76 breweries in the state of Tennessee. And when I had left San Diego, there was like, I think around 120 in the county. I saw the potential here. It's like seeing that wave coming, grabbing your board and getting out there before, it peaks. Although I don't surf. I just want to sound cool, man. It's exciting to see a lot of these breweries just grow in a short amount of time.
And Bearded Iris isn't the only brewery growing in Nashville. In fact, every brewery I visited there seemed to be growing or expanding to a new location. There was even a craft sake brewery opening called Proper Sake Co., and I was fortunate enough to secure an invite to the soft opening. Nashville is a beautiful city, and its culinary and fermentables culture is blossoming and vibrant. Bearded Iris reflects this new energy with gusto, and they're definitely doing Nashville proud. If you're not a stickler for the opacity of your beverages, they're also an excellent example of hazy beer done right. So if you're fortunate enough to find yourself in the city of Nashville, which I definitely recommend, stop by Germantown and have a couple pints at Bearded Iris Brewing. Other Nashville beverage purveyors that I'm partial to include Yazoo, Jackalope, Southern Grist, Proper Sake Co., and our friends at Bongo Java Roasting Company, which you will learn all about in our coffee episode later this season. That's it for this episode of What's on Draft. Join us next time as we follow Ebullition while they endeavor to get their beer on tap at Project Bar and Grill. We'll also have a cameo from longtime friends of the show and our very first Kickstarter backers, San Diego Beer Talk Radio. We'll see you next time. Cheers.